Welcome to another week of progress on the foundation. I had to cut my development week a little bit short this time. I have to go out of town for a wedding, but I've still managed to get quite a bit done this week, so I'll show you what I have and you can give me the feedback on that, and we'll continue making progress next week. So this week most of the progress was on 3 different menu tabs that I did not have available to show you last week. So here we have Are We Cool Yet? And we'd seen the statistics, we'd seen recent activity, the documentation, the color changer, but these other 3 tabs were left unimplemented last week. So first of all, this one I teased in a picture on IndieDB and over Twitter. So this is the paradigm screen, and as I've talked in a lot of videos, the idea of the paradigm of both your foundation that you create and the opposing groups that you are facing is going to be really important for political relations, and some of your interactions will just go better if you have matching paradigms, and will be a lot harder to pull off if your paradigms are very opposite. For example, to infiltrate a group that's heavily esoteric when you refuse to do anything with esoteric materials. So if you're reality based and you're trying to infiltrate an esoteric group, it'll be a little bit trickier for you. So if you can see here on the paradigm chart, we got the 3 corners, the balanced, esoteric, and reality. Are We Cool Yet? There is heavily leaning towards esoteric. All of these groups I've just kind of put in some just placeholder values for what their paradigm will be like. So if you don't agree with the placement of these paradigms, just send me back the feedback and I'll get things adjusted so that they're right. Down here I have an ugly button. I'll make it look better eventually. It wasn't that important, but it says show all groups. If I toggle it, all of the active groups, not the event creating ones, just the active ones you have to interact with, are then all populated onto the paradigm chart. And this way you can see how they all relate to each other as well, because paradigm doesn't just affect your interactions, it affects their interactions. So in this case, now maybe I have the paradigms wrong, so again, send me feedback, but in this case, Oriya, Unusual Incidents Group, and the Global Occult Coalition have a very similar paradigm. They would find it easier to interact with each other because they have a similar understanding. Of course, the paradigm isn't the only thing that governs interactions. So the Global Occult Coalition and Oriya are probably going to clash with each other because they want the same things. They're probably going to start off slightly antagonistic towards each other as well. So just because they're close on this chart doesn't mean that they will be best buddies. It just means it's easier for them to have interactions with each other. This tab's the relationships between all the different groups, like the actual how well people get along. So white lines are neutral, and since I haven't put in the code yet for setting the starting relationships between groups to each other, most of the groups have a neutral relationship to each other at the current moment. So as you can see, Are We Cool Yet? Has a neutral relationship to every other group at the moment. Now obviously that's probably not true, so these things need to be tweaked, but that'll be easy, and probably next week I'll add in the code so that the starting relationships can be specified. So you can click on all the different groups and see their interactions as well. For purposes of demonstration here, I have that the foundation is currently enemies with the Chaos Insurgency and the Serpent's Hand, and is friends with the Horizon Initiative. Now these are all easily changeable. In fact, it's all in a easy to edit text file, and you can go in and set all the starting relationships the way you feel they should be. Easily moddable. I'm trying to build it the way that I want people to mod it. So all these settings and variables, all moddable. No code changes necessary. So you see, as you can click around the different groups and see their relationships to each other. And I feel that this kind of circle and fan method allows for easy presentation of the information. so that you don't have to look at really complicated long scrolling charts of relationships. It's just all slapped right there. Now, a couple things I'd like to know from you on this screen and the Paradigm screen is what other options would you like to see? What other toggles? What kind of legend information would be nice? What other information should I display on those two screens that would be helpful? Obviously, some of that will be figured out as we continue developing the groups of interest. But if you have any thoughts that come up now, let me know and I'll work on getting them planned in. The last screen isn't nearly as interesting. It's the assets screen, and it shows the various assets that this group has, such as SCPs that they've recovered, persons of interest that are working for them, various nations they've convinced to become a funding nation for them. I did a lot of thinking on the screen and I really couldn't think up of anything clever to display this data. If you have any better ideas, which you probably do, please let me know. And that completes most of the report information for the group. As I continue developing the groups, it might come up that more information is needed. If so, we can add more to these tabs. But for now, I think that pretty much completes out the report screen for external affairs. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next week.